We found victim 1 face down in a giant vat of beer. Red beer, frothy, churning and roiling in blood. Not precisely the best brew of the batch, I knew, but I couldn't help wonder what it might taste like on a mechanical tongue.
Detective Robot,
said Officer Allen, a short, stocky, often uncharitable young fellow.
I can't believe they called you out for this.
I formed my golden-jointed lips into a pleasant smile. Why wouldn't they have called? Rain or shine, we always get our man. My partner and fellow investigation consultant, Gorilla Todd, beat his chest and pulled his lips back over his teeth.
Step back, beat cop,
he said in his big gruff voice.
Let the man work.
Gorilla Todd was 500 pounds of hyper-intelligent simian. He was a post-nuclear, neuro-enhanced military lab experiment, lots of those wandering grim land. Bit of a bruiser to be sure, but an honest and a loyal one. Thank you, Gorilla, I said. Officer Allen, must we really? Allen snorted.
Boy, oh boy, you fellas need to learn your place. Are we still short-staffed on actual detectives? What'd you do to get the call on this? Grease a few palms? Robots run on grease, don't they?
Point of fact, we run on million-core super processors the size of toenail trimmings. I wouldn't expect a technologic druid like Alan to know the difference, of course. We got the call because the chief appreciated our work and professionalism. She requested us by name. The place was ours for the next hour at least. Why a fusion brewery? I said, taking in our surroundings.
People don't die in fusion breweries?
Asked Alan.
Usually not fashion models, no,
said Gorilla.
Not in the middle of the night.
And certainly not all women dress like them, I said. Alan blanched at this. He scratched his head and turned to face the vat.
Holy cow!
He exclaimed.
She's gone all pruny in the lager.
Ale, I said. Shall you fetch the net or shall I? Fusion brewing, popularized at the dawn of the last nuclear holocaust, involves the high-speed collision of plutonium-rich barley nuclei with the nuclei of hops machine-grown in the atomic soils found in the ancient ruins of Hackensack, New Jersey. The resulting photonic explosion produces a bubbly, effervescent ale, light on the tongue but with just enough zing to potentially threaten male fertility, as all nuclear beverages should. Zippy Beer, or rather Zippy Beer's northeastern production plant, did seem a rather strange place for homicide. Zippy was known throughout Grimland as the safest, most environmentally conscious nuclear beer on the market. 50 years without a tainted batch, their advertisements often declared. Fusion belchers spat florid ale, sluicing through sloshers, roaring down pipeways, collecting and aging in anti-grav refrigeration closets. I studied Alan carefully. He looked tired and overworked.
I swear to God, she was young when I found her,
he said.
Sure she was.
Gorilla Todd chuckled.
Makes all the sense in the world. Hey Mac, you been smoking them funny cigarettes?
I tapped my chin with golden fingers and examined the poor old dead deer. We pulled her from the vat and sprawled her out on the tiled factory floor. I searched and picked at her with the robo-pincers I used for toes. You're having us on, aren't you, Officer Allen? I said. You see that ceiling up there? That high ceiling all those many meters up above? See how there's no skywalk, no roof access?
Yeah,
said Allen. Now do you see this is the last vat in the line? 11 vats down that way, but here just the one. No ladder either, do you see? Gorilla Todd jumped to his feet and waved an arm over his head.
I know this one, Robot, I know it.
I nodded at him agreeably and opened my chest slot with a bleep, bleep, bleep. A high-protein banana cube flopped out and jiggled on the factory floor like jelly. All 500 pounds of Todd landed on it and gobbled.
She materialized in the beer,
he said, his lips smacking.
And she aged on the spot. Some kind of schismatic time disruption, I think.
Very good, Gorilla, I said. You see, Officer Allen, once you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be that... A dazzling kaleidoscopic clash of colors showered us. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, landed on Officer Allen with a skull-cracking thud. Gorilla Todd shouted,
Holy cannoli, who is that?
"It's Abraham Lincoln," I said, "and he's been shot." I checked my tertiary memory banks to be sure. The beard, the hat, it was Lincoln all right. Bullet wound in the back of the head. He wasn't dead yet. Eyes fluttering, gasping, but not dead yet. His body aged on the spot, grew older by the second. Wrinkles, thinning skin, hair gone long, gray, and brittle. Allen wheezed like strangled bagpipes. He gave a final stifled groan, then he twitched and went limp. I rushed over and checked on him for a pulse. "He's dead, Gorilla Todd," I said. "The great emancipator snapped his neck."
Huh. He don't look too great to me.
Granted, though I'm certain he's not at his best. Struck down by a cowardly actor, that's democracy for you. What precisely are we dealing with, Gorilla?
Black magic?
Said Todd. Doubtful.
Sinister Martian technology?
Highly unlikely, though you earn top marks for making me chuckle. No, Todd, our suspect resembles nothing so much as thin air.
What do you mean?
I kicked at a vat's emergency release valve, and golden nuclear beer sprayed my feet. Bending low under the faucet, I proceeded to fill my robot's super stomach with hoppy ale. My golden-jointed fingers tapped a supple, syncopated rhythm on my forehead, performed a million mental processes, 1,000,000 plus 50, the span of a single human heartbeat. "Eureka!" I exclaimed. "The cause of the murderous space-time schism is..." Rather out of the blue, a naked caveman came screaming at us from the shadows. He said,
Goober, blubber,
and then proceeded to club me over the head with a tree branch. "Ouch!" I shouted. "Help me, Todd, you great galoot!" Gorilla Todd ripped the branch away and roared a mighty challenge. The caveman roared back. His skin rippled with flash wrinkles, hair going long and brittle, just like Lincoln's. Hearty fellow, he attacked Todd, ripped out a chunk of gorilla hair, and fishhooked my simian companion.
You rotten mook.
Gorilla said, caveman fingers sliding in and out of his mouth. He wrapped his meaty hands round the caveman's throat. "Gorilla, no!" I said. More shattering kaleidoscopic sparks, one long continuous wellspring of them. From them appeared a cute orange kitten, a Renaissance painter, a popular ancient professional football quarterback, a potted cactus, and lastly, Richard Milhouse Nixon. Nixon crumpled to the ground, got one look at Lincoln, and shrieked,
Jesus Christ! What happened to that poor bastard?
All of them aged. The kitten grew, got fat, got skinny, and died. The Renaissance painter, fingers covered in vibrant green and red oils, said something in Italian about unfinished masterworks, choked on his tongue, and summarily expired.
We gotta do something, robot,
said Todd, still throttling the dwindling, gasping caveman. "Do what?" I said, "and stop choking that caveman." Nixon died screaming, gurgling, clawing at the air. "Todd," I said, "we have to dump the beer."
The beer?
Said Todd. "It's a bad batch. It has to be. There's no murderer here. Tainted Zippy beer has caused a schism in time and space." More colorful showers. From them is Seabass, the Marquis de Sade, two members of a light contemporary jazz quartet, an earthworm, Eddie Murphy, and a 225-foot tall California redwood tree. The redwood flooded to the factory floor, split the concrete, rose and sprawled, broke through the high white ceiling. The factory lights flickered, ceiling chunks rained down on us. "The beer, Todd! Dump it!" Todd let go of the shriveled caveman. He leapt for the redwood, scaled its trunk hand over hand. He braced himself against the vat, pushed at it with all his might.
It won't budge,
he said. More strange appearances. A snail, a circus elephant, a street vendor holding tacos. Think. I tapped the rhythm on my forehead. "Eureka!" I exclaimed. I leapt for the tree, climbed for a branch, squared my shoulders, and then I dove into the beer. In haste, I began to drink it. My robot super stomach swelled. 500 gallons, 700, 1,000. The roiling, bloody fashion model beer. It washed down my throat at 100,000 psi, rushing, roaring through my alloy sternum. My body rocked and strained. I groaned like industrial machinery.
It's working, robot,
said Todd.
The holes are slowing down.
A sea cucumber, a member of the 1989 Harlem Globetrotters. And then it stopped. Bodies grew old and died. The redwoods rotted, split, half fell and crushed the factory wall. In rushed the night air, our arid post-nuclear wind. Our city out there, Green City 1, twinkled like starlight. Bricks and heavy steel beams and girders fell all around us. Clouds of dust lifted and lingered until well after relative stillness had filled the factory. Gorilla Todd gasped from exertion. He stumbled down from the remnants of the redwood and sat against its trunk, eyeing the bodies, all the destruction.
You did it, robot,
he said.
You're a freaking genius, you know that?
Of course I knew. I also knew I was big as a house. Big like a beer vat and just as full. Body engorged, I looked like a head swimming in a sea of scrap metal, jammed into the vat like some kind of sausage. Tainted space-time schismatic beer, I wheezed. I might have known. Perhaps a super-accelerated atomic contaminant, a mutation in the solitary photosynthetic apparatus, for instance, exceeded localized time dilation barriers and generated continuous Einstein-Rosen pathways. And to think, Albert Einstein believed time was non-real.
I know,
said Todd. Call in a containment unit, Gorilla. Call in the best they've got. And get the chief down here, too. I fear, Todd, that our troubles are just beginning. Gorilla Todd huffed. He pondered a moment, and then his thick brow lifted as realization dawned.
Oh no,
he said.
You don't mean...
Precisely, I replied. In approximately 39 minutes, I will have to void my robo-bladder like a racehorse. The game, as they say, my dear Gorilla Todd, is afoot.